Hello everyone, very welcome to my channel. Today we are going to read an amazing story called Free After 19 Years from Improve Your English. This is part of the Learn English Story series. These are graded readers for intermediate learners. The vocabulary is quite simple and easy to understand, and most importantly, the stories are so interesting that you will find yourself watching them all in a row. Let's get started with our story. Free after 19 years. It was past midnight and the old woman was sitting in her room alone. She felt a sharp pain in her chest. She was having difficulty breathing. Her heart was beating fast. She got out of bed and walked slowly to the window. She looked up at the sky and whispered, "I am free now." Then she closed her eyes and leaned against the wall. The woman had spent 19 years in prison. Now she was finally free, but only for a few hours. In the morning, when the sun rises, she will be taken away again. She was too weak to move. She didn't have the strength to call for help. She knew no one would come. Her family had forgotten about her. They never visited her in prison. All the other prisoners had been released long ago, but she stayed inside because no one wanted to talk to her. She had become a dangerous woman. She had killed someone. She remembered how it happened. It was a hot summer day. She was walking home after work when suddenly a man came out of a side street. He was holding a knife in his hand. He took a step toward her and shouted, "Give me your bag." She was afraid, so she ran down the street and turned into an alley. The man followed her. Suddenly, she slipped and fell on the wet floor. The man came close to her. He was tall and strong. He kicked her bag away and picked it up. Then he said, "Now give me your jewelry, your watch and your rings." The woman was crying. She told him, "Please don't hurt me." She reached out her hand, but the robber pushed her away. At that moment, she saw a big metal pipe lying on the ground. She grabbed it and hit the robber on the head. She didn't want to kill him. She just wanted him to stop hurting her. When the police arrived, the robber was lying on the ground and the woman was standing over him with a pipe in her hands. The police asked her, "Did you do it?" She said, "Yes, but he attacked me first." The police searched the area and found the knife the robber had used. They also found out that the man was a dangerous criminal. He had attacked many women that summer. The woman was taken to prison. The next day, she stood in court. The judge asked her why she had killed the man. She said, "I was defending myself." The judge said, "You could have defended yourself without killing him. You used a metal pipe. That's why I'm sending you to prison for 20 years." Now the woman was old and she regretted what she had done, but there was no way to change the past. She sat down on the windowsill. She was tired and she wanted to sleep. As the sun rose, two policemen entered the room. They were there to take the old woman to prison again. She heard them talking. One policeman said, "Do you know why she killed that man?" "Because he reminded her of her son." Her son had become a robber too. One day he had held a knife to her throat and demanded money. She hit him with a vase and killed him. She said she acted in self-defense, but I think she was just trying to protect her money. The other policeman said, "How sad. She lost everything because of her son, and now she's too old to start a new life." They helped the woman to her feet. She wanted to say something, but the policeman didn't listen. They walked out of the room, leaving the door open. When they were gone, another woman got up from a chair in the corner. She was hiding there. She was an undercover agent. She had been observing the old woman. Now she closed the door and quickly left the house. She took a taxi to the police station. She had to tell the chief what she had heard. She went up to his office and knocked on the door. The chief was a young man. He looked up from his desk and said, "Come in." The agent entered the office. She said, "Chief, I have something important to tell you." She explained what she had learned from the old woman. The chief thought for a moment. He said, "Thank you for telling me this. I'll look into it." The agent nodded and left the office. Later that day, the chief called all the detectives to his office. He told them about the old woman and the story she had told the policeman. He said, "We don't know if she's telling the truth or not, But if what she said is true, then we need to find her son. He's a dangerous criminal and we must arrest him." The detectives agreed. They started searching every prison in the country. They wanted to find the man who had died in the alley 19 years ago. They found his parents and asked them if they knew any more about their son. The parents were shocked. They hadn't seen their son since he left home at 16. He became a rebel, his mother said. He didn't want to go to school and he hated the police. He said they were just trying to keep him from being free. The detectives continued searching, but they couldn't find any trace of the man. Maybe the old woman was wrong. Maybe it wasn't the woman's son who had robbed and killed people that summer. Maybe it was just some criminal who happened to look like her son. The case was closed, but the chief couldn't forget the story. Every night he dreamed of the old woman in the little room. She became obsessed with the case. She started reading old police files. Finally, she found a picture of the dead robber. She brought it to her office and stared at it. Then she had an idea. She called the parents of the dead man and invited them to the police station. When they arrived, she showed them the picture. "Can you identify this man?" she asked. The couple looked at the picture and began to cry. "Oh, yes, that's our son," the father said. "But how did you find this picture?" "We thought it was destroyed." The chief smiled. "Your son is alive," she said, "and tomorrow we will arrest him." The next day, the police surrounded the house where the son lived. They entered the house and found the man in the garden. He had a knife in his hand. He had just cut some flowers for his wife. The police told him to put down the knife. They said, "We know what you did 19 years ago." The man looked at his wife. He had never told her about his past. He had always believed he could change. He had never planned to hurt anyone again. But now the police were here and everything was destroyed. He threw the knife on the ground and let the police handcuff him. He was taken away. Later that day, the man was in court. The chief told him, "You killed an innocent woman 19 years ago," the man said. "I was just trying to steal money from her. I never meant to hurt her." The chief replied, "That doesn't matter. You took an innocent life. Now you must pay for it." The man was silent. He knew he deserved it. Outside the courthouse, the chief met the old woman. She was waiting there. She had come to see the end of the trial. The chief said, "It's over now," and smiled. The woman nodded. She was very tired. After 19 years in prison, she had finally gotten her freedom. This is the end of today's story. If you liked the story, please give us a thumbs up. Also, let us know in the comments what you think about the story. What did you like? Did you learn something new? And most importantly, please subscribe if you haven't yet. Thank you very much for watching. See you soon.